Hi, Gary here again, and in this video I want to talk about technical terms and definitions of those terms. So, what are technical terms and definitions? Well, the terms that the DSA uses, and it's important that you understand exactly what they mean so that you can then teach the right thing and deal with the right subjects. So you might find those terms used in books, but they tend to be DSA terms. Why do you need to know them? As I say, you need to fully understand the meaning so that you can teach the correct subjects. And also to avoid getting confused. It's easy to think a word means something and start to talk about that, and then it doesn't actually mean what you're talking about, and it only confuses yourself and the pupil. So having a very clear definition is very important. So, major and minor roads. What's the definition of a major and a minor road? Well, what I've done is gone through some examples that maybe aren't right, and then the example that is right. So we'll look at the ones that aren't right first. So, major roads are busier. That's a popular misconception. That's not correct. Major roads are wider. Again, not correct. Major roads are A roads. Not correct either. Minor roads are smaller. It's the opposite to major roads being wider, but again, incorrect. So what is the right answer? Major roads have priority, and that's the only answer to it. The major road has priority over the minor road. So if you're dealing with major to minor roads, you'll be on a road that's got priority turning into a minor road that hasn't got priority. If you're coming out of a T-junction, you'll be dealing with minor roads onto major roads which have priority over the T-junction. So be clear about that. Meeting situations. Any traffic approaching. That's not quite right. Traffic opposite at a crossroads. So imagine you've come to a giveaway at a crossroads and you've got traffic waiting opposite. A lot of people think that that is meeting traffic. It's not. Turning right in front of traffic. So you're on major road, turning right, and people might think that that's meeting situations, but it isn't. So a meeting situation is a gap that's too narrow for two vehicles to pass. So usually most common scenario with that would be where there's parked cars, but it could be any narrowing of the road. So it could be just a narrow road, it could be a bridge, it could be a skip, roadworks, anything that makes the road too narrow for two vehicles to pass at that point. That's a meeting situation. Crossing traffic. Okay, so going ahead at a crossroads. This is where a lot of people get confused with crossing traffic. They think it's a lot of different things, and it's not. It's only one specific thing. So if you were asked to deal with crossing traffic, you need to know exactly what it is you're going to be talking about. So don't get confused to thinking again that it's when you're at a crossroads waiting to go across, that you're going to cross the traffic that's going right and left in front of you. It's not that. Is it emerging right? Not that either. A lot of people think that when you're emerging right, the traffic that's coming from your right is what you're crossing. I can see where that confusion occurs, but it's not the technical definition for crossing traffic. That is classed as emerging. So the correct terminology, or definition should we say, is turning right across traffic from a major to a minor road. Okay, now that includes traffic lights. So if you were turning right at a set of traffic lights, they would denote the priority. So when the lights are on green, that's the major road, and the other road's the minor road. So if you're turning right from a major road into a minor road, or could be turning right into any opening on the right, it could be a garage, it could be a house, you're turning right across the path of oncoming traffic, and that is the only definition of crossing traffic. So hope you're clear with that one. Adequate clearance, or shaving. Now, a lot of people think that this is just getting too close to parked cars. It is that, it does include that, but not only that, it's also getting too close to anything. So it could be following distances, and you could be looking at the 2-second rule for following traffic moving at 40 miles an hour or above, or tyres and tarmac if you're in stationary traffic, or any situation where you're too close to anything. It doesn't have to be traffic, it could be a skip again, could be a pedestrian, you know, it could be anything that the driver gets too close to in any situation. Progress. Okay, what does progress mean? Well, driving too slow, correct, but it's not only driving too slow, okay? It also means driving too fast. So a lot of people think that making progress only refers to if the pupil's going too slow. It can be the total opposite, where the pupil's going too fast. So a good way of thinking of it is it's in relation to the speed limit and the conditions and the hazards, not just the speed limit, but it's when the car is moving, but it's moving at the wrong speed for the speed limit, the conditions or the hazards. So it's either going too fast or too slow for those conditions. And the best way to see that fault is just think about the way that you would be driving through that situation. If it feels too fast or too slow compared to what you would do, then you've spotted the fault. Hesitancy. Driving too slowly. No. Not going at a junction when there is enough time. Okay, well that is correct, but it's not the only way that you could be hesitant. It's any time when the car isn't moving, but it should be. So that could be at traffic lights, and we're not prepared to go when the lights are changing, so you're very slow at moving off. It could be just moving off from the side of the road where there's a gap to move off into, and they don't take that opportunity. So it's any time when the car isn't moving, but it should be moving. So just going back to progress. Progress is when the car is moving, but at the wrong speed. Hesitancy is when the car isn't moving, but it should be. Position. Normal driving position, not a metre from the curb. As we know, the recommended driving position is a metre from the curb, but we can't always keep that distance. It depends on the width of the road. But it isn't just that, okay? So it's possibly correct, but there are other definitions to it. So it's any time that the car is in the wrong position for a certain situation. So don't just think of it as normal driving position. It could be any position at all. It could be at a junction where they've got the wrong angle, maybe if they're going to be turning right or emerging right, let's say, and they do a bit of steering at the end, so it puts a bit of an angle on the car at the T-junction itself. That will be an incorrect position. So it isn't just to do with normal driving position, it's anything to do with position. Okay, so here's the motto again, 20 letters, 10 words, 1 meaning. If it is to be, it is up to me. So, prepare to pass. And I hope that's helped you with some definitions.